The thing that bothered me the most outside, I guess I'm being somewhat selfish here. I was disappointed not one snap for Levi Onwuzurike. Now, I didn't see any explanation for that, so if I missed it and somebody else saw it, feel free. But he's not like Hutch. Can't play the guy. It's not like they're not preserving him, right?
Well, maybe they are. Maybe they really do view him as one of these guys. Dan Campbell said he's the best. One of the best.
I mean, if he's been that good that they're already giving him that kind of treatment, it just seems, I don't know, that seems really, whatever. It's not that big a deal. That was my biggest disappointment for the game. It's not that big a deal.
For me, I look at it differently. I just think they get so much out of the joint practices that he didn't have to.
Yeah.
He didn't have to play in the game because he got all his work and the reps against the ones and apparently looked pretty good. So that's what they care about. To me, the disappointing part was that they didn't have any receiver really distinguish themselves. I mean, Isaiah Williams, he ended up with 4 catches in the game on 4 targets, and it looked pretty good, but it was all, kind of mop-up duty, if you will. But the other guys just didn't. Donovan Peoples-Jones had 1 catch, albeit for 26 yards, but nothing really there. Antoine Green caught a few passes, but only for 13 yards, and then left the game with a neck concussion, I think is what Dan Campbell kind of referred to it as. And then the guys that really wanted to see, Caden Davis and Darius Fountain, between them had 1 catch on 7 targets. I guess a lot of that can be explained by the poor quarterback play, the conditions on the field, I guess, because neither team did really well in the passing game. But I was really hoping that one of those guys is going to separate themselves and at least give us something to talk about today and go, they're right about Darius Fountain. He looked pretty good. Or, Caden Davis, he did look pretty good. And there just wasn't a whole lot to go on.
No. Khang, what did you like the most and what bothered you the most?
What I liked the most was Sione Vaki. I think he's honestly going to make a difference at some point during this year. It felt like a project-type pick because you're switching positions. He played mostly defense in college, but, some snaps on offense. But I see the vision that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell had with him. When he got in the game, he showed that he's got natural instincts, the ability to be shifty, make cuts. Those are just some natural things. Sometimes it's, all right, see hole, hit hole, but it's easier said than done. And I thought he did pretty well. And he's only getting started. I think he can make a real impact right now this year on special teams, though. With the new kickoff rules, I'd love to see him back there in the landing zone or whatever they're calling it and be able to return.
That's exactly what they're calling it.
Okay, all right, whatever. Yeah, we'll see if it sticks. But as far as that, I think he can make a real difference on special teams.
He's
at least.
Landing zone guy. I love this. We're going to have I think he's a landing zone guy.
Yeah.
But I think behind Montgomery and Gibbs, I think he's the next guy. And hopefully, the more experience he gets, the more reps he gets, I think he can go in the game. And
he certainly brightened things up last night every time he touched the football. Whereas, can you say anything special about Zonovan Knight or Craig Reynolds or anybody else?
I was hoping Jamar Jefferson popped, but he really didn't. He had a couple nice runs. Got the most. When there was 4 yards there, he got 4 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Bringing the funk out, Jake Funk.
Jamar
Jefferson.
What bothered you the most?
All right, this bothered me. Now, it's admittedly a Khang concern because this guy wasn't going to really impact this year for the Lions, but as much as I saw the vision Brad Holmes had for Vaki, I don't see the vision for Manu. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because they actually used some resources to get this project, and I didn't really like that from the beginning, still don't like it now, not that he was going to progress that much, but when Manu went into the game, at left tackle, to me, it looked like he got beat on 90+% of the snaps from a guy who's not going to make the team for the Giants, probably. He's incredibly raw, and I know he's got athletic ability and he's got a skill set and some tools that you could work with, but they used a 4th-round pick, gave up a future 3rd-round pick for this guy, and I don't know if he's ever going to see the field for the Lions. I know it's not going to be this year, but that maybe could have been used for someone else because Brad Holmes is so good at mid-round picks. Maybe they could have got somebody else that would have helped this team this year.
All right, 248-539-9797. We ask you, what did you like the most and what was your biggest non-Nate Sudfeld concern? Bunch of tweets on this. We promised we'd read some on the air, so let's do so right now. Nathaniel J. writes in, the second-string O-line has zero chemistry. From Brian, wasn't much to really like. Hooker showed some flashes, but that didn't last long. Neiman's name was called a lot, and Alexander has maybe already been cut. Oh, dude. Yeah, dropping the first 2 punts.
That's not a good look. That's not a good look. The guy, the texter who mentioned the offensive line not having no chemistry, hard to have chemistry as a second unit. And I'm glad he makes that point, because that's what takes your offensive line up a notch, is if they know what each other is supposed to do. And these guys, it's patchwork when you're a second unit.
More of your ticket texts and tweets, 248-539-9797. I'll give you something else that was extraordinarily sloppy, and somebody who's today probably grading out film poorly. The Fipper. There were a lot of special teams mistakes. The first punt, they dropped it, but they gave up a big kick return, but there was a flag that negated it to open the game. Then the first punt return, they fumbled and had a hold. The second punt return, they fumbled, but it was ruled down. The kickoff coverage, they had a landing zone violation, which, by the way, if you were wondering, I was like, okay, what's the signal for this going to be? Right? What is the new official signal?
Putting your arms up and down like a plane.
I mean, what would you make the landing zone violation? Like, would you make a square?
And then put a line through it?
That would be...
Do they need those batons like they have at the airport? Maybe pull them out of their back pocket, and it's like, hey, put an X. I don't know, like, hey, we got a violation.
Landing zone violation. Yeah, an X. Yeah. An X would be a great. Have the official go, dead ball, landing zone violation.
Gets the big orange gloves from the guy with the TV camera.
I think technically what they did was the illegal procedure. I think that's what the official did. We got a landing zone violation.
Yeah, it's a legal procedure.
But we had a landing zone violation. We had a kickoff go out of bounds. We had a player run out of bounds on their own and get flagged. Gilmore had a hold and a run out of bounds on his own flag. So there was all kinds of stuff that Fipper is going to want to clean up.